African savanna. The most unforgiving battlefield. Yet here, life also flourishes in remarkable ways. Predators and prey, all must struggle to survive. Welcome to Lion Kingdom, the brutal rules of survival. Lions do not oversee their territory as a peaceful family home. They run it like a military corporation. Every square meter of land carries the scent of authority. In the world of the lion, power is set in stone. He is not merely a father. He is a sentinel, safeguarding the family from those on the outside. But dominance is often a lonely road filled with pressure. When a young, vigorous, nomadic male steps up, a leadership change is bound to happen. The winner takes the lead, but he soon meets a difficult challenge. The females in the pride are not yet welcoming. Winning the hearts of the ladies is no walk in the park. The females are ready to stand their ground against the newcomer. They must look after their young. For a single lapse in focus could mean the little ones are gone. The new leader will patiently wait for his moment. This is a natural strategy to encourage the lionesses to start their next cycle sooner. These young kings are eager, needing to secure their lineage before long, as their time in power is shorter than that of the queens. While the kings of the land are still preoccupied with their game of thrones, beneath the river surfaces, a different kind of authority, more raw and heavy, is being established. The hippopotamus is the most formidable mammal in Africa. Every 1 centimeter of water is a priceless asset. Before those massive jaws lock together, they determine status. This is an infrasound that can make the ground tremble. It is deep and lingering, a showcase of lung capacity and prime muscle mass. The deeper the sound, the more formidable the individual. Order at the watering hole is unquestionable, even for uninvited guests. The rhinoceros. The power of sound forces even the largest figures to step back. However, if vocal intimidation fails, the confrontation reaches a new level. This is a direct insult, and the challenger is ready to cross the line. Physical force becomes the only language left. Hippopotamus battles can last for hours under the scorching sun. The animals, like the antelope, to proactively vacate the area to stay out of harm's way. The result of such boldness is often a painful sentence of exile. He collapses, carrying a costly lesson about dominance. The victor returns to the pod, continuing to hold exclusive mating rights and protect his muddy kingdom. Until the next challenger emerges. Even in the midst of the Great Migration, the urge to possess never ceases. Male wildebeests set up temporary offices right along the trail. These giants, weighing nearly 300 kilograms, have a unique way of squaring off. This is not an act of surrender. Kneeling helps redistribute the pressure, shielding their slender front joints from harm during the heavy headbutts. The struggle usually ends in a retreat, because in this moving tide, failing to reach the destination over a temporary patch of grass is an unnecessary waste. But winning the match is only half the battle, as mastering the space through scent is the key to keeping the ladies around. The male begins to weave a scent maze of his own. However, this dominance often meets a cold shoulder from the females, or simply ends when the migratory instinct urges the herd to keep moving. The cycle of competition starts all over again at the next stop, where these wanderers once more take a knee to defend their pride on the savanna. Kneeling also resembles a ritual. Yet for the warthog, this gesture is not a display of ego. For them, lowering the body is a practical solution to address their most basic requirement: a meal. The warthog possesses fairly long legs, but its neck is short and remarkably stiff. To reach the short tufts of grass or dig for roots, they must fold their front legs and kneel on their wrists. This is certainly not a matter of enduring an unpleasant ordeal. There are incredibly thick and tough calluses located at the warthog's wrist joints. It is a scene that is both quirky and down to business. But while the warthog is preoccupied with the earth, the leopard takes full command of his surroundings. This solitary prowler does not believe in sharing his domain. The leopard is a solitary phantom. He does not need an army to maintain his empire. The map of his kingdom is drawn with invisible boundaries that are very assertive. The solitude of this big cat is only broken when the scent of a lady spreads to the edge of his territory. Her domain is smaller and may overlap with his kingdom. They share a brief honeymoon lasting 5 days at most. When the task is complete, the romance fades away instantly. They return to the quiet and to their professional solitude. For a young leopard, patience is the most important survival lesson. He aims for the most vulnerable in the boar family. But the hunt is only half the battle. The leopard performs a technique that few other big cats can mirror perfectly. This is his natural storage area, where food is kept away from thieves on the ground. Not with this lioness, though. Unlike her mate with the thick mane, the lioness has a body that is quite nimble and quick. Going up this tree is no challenge for her. The difficult situation belongs to the leopard. He doesn't dare to stand his ground. The queen is twice his size and significantly stronger. What could be more unpleasant than this bold claim on his property? The struggle for living space and resources also reaches the forests of Madagascar, where in the absence of the large, assertive cats, smaller creatures are carrying out their own territorial reorganizations. The drongo is a spirited bird. Weighing only 50 grams, they proactively take the lead. The drongo is ready to confront the apex predators of the sky like eagles and large owls. Simply for being near their territory, it is the aerial version of the honey badger. When other drongos enter the territory, the encounter is no longer just a simple disturbance. A clash of beaks and talons, intense. This struggle often continues persistently in another spot, if the challenger has not yet thrown in the towel. However, the drongo does not stop at challenging its own kind. It acts as a professional enforcer toward the paradise flycatcher. It intends to encourage the other party to seek a new home elsewhere. It establishes a paradoxical protection contract with smaller, gentler birds. These neighbors are permitted to nest within its domain to enjoy safety from larger predators. In return, the price is a frequent tax through quick food interception. From these tests of wit in Africa, the journey of territorial claim takes us across thousands of miles to another latitude. In the land of true giants in Alaska, a completely different arena awaits. The rules of the kingdom are once again rewritten with raw physical power. The far north of Alaska. As summer arrives, Alaska's wild rivers transform into the planet's greatest energy arena. The Salmon Run. Territorial claims at these river bends aren't as permanent as the leopards, but the intensity is just as fierce. Each sockeye salmon contains about 4,500 calories, and an adult bear must consume at least 30 fish every day. The prime fishing spots become priceless assets. Massive alpha males naturally claim the most rewarding spots. Anyone looking to cross the line faces long claws and powerful jaws. However, the riverside arena also witnesses the most intense instinctive conflicts. This mother bear won't seek a new partner as long as her little ones are by her side. A mother's love is an unbreakable biological wall. The ultimate goal for every river dweller is to pack on enough fat before entering a hibernation lasting 5 to 6 months. Dominance here is only seasonal, yet it is the only ticket to seeing the sunrise of next spring. However, not every kingdom mirrors the one in Alaska. In the jungle borders between Rwanda and Uganda, massive primates are running an unusually calm society. The gorilla governs his empire under the supreme leadership of a single silverback. He is in the driver's seat for every rhythm of the troop's daily life. From choosing where to rest to the timing of their botanical feast. Unlike the big cat kings, who are always on edge about boundaries, the gorilla's domain is an open space. The silverback's leadership focuses on the quality of life and the security of his troop members. The young can play freely and learn to establish their social standing without needing intense confrontations. However, this paradise is now feeling the squeeze. Human expansion is tightening natural borders, causing the kingdom of these intelligent primates to shrink. Yet, there are still places where local people can coexist with the wild inhabitants. The Maasai warrior, those who understand this land and the lions better than anyone else. The bond between human and beast was once extremely strained, but now things have changed. This lioness has taken what wasn't hers. It is unclear whether the herder's sharp senses or the safari vehicles blew her cover. The Maasai body carries a distinct scent. To the lion, this is the scent of the finality. The scent of the only species that dares to face them head-on with a spear. The intruder does not find a happy ending. She wandered too far, into a place where hunting is not permitted. For the Maasai, livestock is their livelihood, their wealth, and the measure of a family's social standing. But instead of seeking retribution with poison or firearms, these proud Moran warriors have become protectors. They combine traditional tracking skills with global positioning systems, monitoring the locations of lion prides, and warning herders to avoid guiding their livestock into risky territory. If livestock is lost, the owner receives a sum equal to the asset's value, provided they do not pursue the predator for revenge. However, this understanding and peaceful coexistence in Africa seems like a distant dream for those living in higher latitudes. As global temperatures rise and ice caps vanish, a more intense confrontation is unfolding in the far north. The polar bear species is being pushed into a heart-wrenching predicament by climate change. Svalbard is currently the hottest spot on the planet, warming 4 times faster than the global average. On the western side of the archipelago, sea ice. Once the primary highway for bears hunting seals, has nearly vanished during the summer months. Without ice, their menu is forced to change tragically. Hunger overrides fear. This leads to a peculiar reality in the town of Longyearbyen. This is the only place on Earth where authorities require you to carry a firearm when leaving residential areas. The goal is not hunting, as this was banned in 1973. The weapon here is for self-preservation. Flare guns are always the top priority. The loud noise and bright light from the flare are the most effective tools for deterring these white intruders from a distance. For stubborn bears lingering too close to town and showing no fear of humans, the authorities have a special eviction measure. A rapid response team is deployed by helicopter to haze them away. If the bear is determined to return, it will be tranquilized and airlifted hundreds of kilometers to the most remote parts of the archipelago. The thawing ice is redrawing the map of survival in the Arctic. These wild creatures must learn how to adapt. A coat of white isn't always the name of the game when it comes to nature's gifted camouflage. Occasionally, it acts as a dramatic genetic glitch, turning a top-tier hunter into a conspicuous target right in the heart of the sun-drenched savanna. Leaving the biting cold of the Arctic behind, we head toward the Timbavati region in South Africa to get a handle on another ghost. The white lion. White lions wear the appearance of grassland ghosts. Unlike albinism, this snowy look stems from a genetic condition called leucism. A recessive gene reduces fur pigment while preserving the original eye color and characteristic paw pads. This legendary beauty is a double-edged sword in the furnace of survival. The pristine white coat contrasts sharply with the golden savanna, stripping away their natural camouflage. This conspicuous presence alerts prey and draws unwanted attention from the most ruthless rivals. To master these odds, this pale-coated king relies on the ultimate weapon, family. Lions are the only big cats to establish a tightly knit and organized social structure. True strength lies in unity, a shield that protects every unique individual under the sun. The instinct to adapt opens new chapters in the most unforgiving borderlands. In the parched Serengeti plains, power is determined by strength and fire. A coalition of wandering warriors is intent on establishing a new empire. Scars from the past only fuel the leader's desire for a comeback. A silent observer glides through the marshlands while the youngest warrior yearns to prove his mettle. A cool, calculating mind stands behind every move, missing no shift on the savanna. The quest for a worthy territory brings them to the heart of an ancient kingdom. A confrontation with the reigning monarch is unavoidable. The air grows heavy with the scent of the end before erupting into a clash of claws and muscle. Amidst the thick dust and crimson, the challenger unseats the former ruler to claim the throne. The females can only watch this intense transition of power from a distance. A new empire is officially born, turning this land into a realm of strength and fire. A thunderous roar asserts the coalition's supreme right over the new land. The arrival of the pride and the young cubs firmly secures the newly established legacy. As dawn breaks, their first coordinated hunt begins. Their target is not a fragile prey, but the massive and courageous African buffalo. The hunting party moves with precision, encircling the target from all sides with absolute synergy. A sudden surge occurs despite the ground giant's spirited resistance. Collective strength soon subdues the prey under the brilliant sun. This meal is a bold declaration of the coalition's tactics and absolute authority. Months later, they set their sights on the ultimate test, the African elephant. A young African elephant separated from the herd becomes the focus of an unyielding siege. The hunt concludes swiftly, marking the most daring triumph in the coalition's history. The message is sent loud and clear. They are the top dog in the Serengeti. Despite establishing total dominance, the lion coalition soon faces a harsh trial from the shifting of the earth and sky. When green pastures turn to dust, millions of creatures begin a grand journey across thousands of kilometers of hardship. This is no longer a struggle for territory, but the start of a fateful migration between life and the final threshold. Migration is no walk in the park. It is a biological contract signed with toil and sacrifice. Millions of years of evolution have encoded into the deoxyribonucleic acid of these species a mandatory command. Keep moving or lose your place in this world. Within the realm of physical laws, this represents the most massive redistribution of energy on the planet. Each step the herd takes is a high-stakes gamble of energy trade-offs. Yet, as millions of living muscles converge on a single point, they unintentionally create a massive banquet. An invitation that those who follow the trail simply cannot turn a blind eye to. Amidst the symphony of pounding hooves, the final transition makes its presence known with great finesse. And on the edge of the Serengeti plains, A certain presence is ready to transform this grand pilgrimage into a visceral, high-intensity pursuit. Leaving behind the dust and the lightning-fast encounters of the Serengeti plains, where existence is measured in seconds, we move toward the Arctic to face a challenge on a completely different scale. A marathon stretching 5,000 kilometers across frozen expanses, where endurance is the sole measure of the chance to thrive. The journey of the caribou is a race against hunger and the freezing elements. Every footfall of these more than 500,000 individuals involves a rigorous calculation of calories. They must reach the Arctic to take advantage of the fleeting summer, where the delicate vegetation is the only source of life to raise the next generation. However, this trek is not just a test of the terrain. It is a path lined with the world's most patient seekers. In the forests of Quebec, the inevitable end follows closely behind. Grey wolves are masters of exhaustion tactics. They simply need to outlast their counterparts. At the river crossings in the Arctic, the intensity reaches a peak. Solitary Arctic wolves know full well that this is when their counterparts are at their most vulnerable. Although science calls it harsh natural selection, from the perspective of a stray caribou, it is an unforgiving reality. The wolf does not require an all-out battle. It only needs a precise grip on the hamstring to turn its counterpart's marathon into its final resting place. As the caribou herd moves deeper into the mountains, they encounter an entity of pure power, the grizzly bear. This is not an endurance seeker like the wolf, but rather an opportunistic force of nature. For a mother bear with 3 mouths to feed, the caribou migration season is a season of abundance that she cannot afford to miss. The encounter at this river bend lacks finesse. An adult caribou can weigh as much as 180 kilograms, yet the 10-centimeter claws of a mother with young are a presence that commands respect. A grizzly can consume a massive amount of calories from such a sizable harvest to build a fat layer 15 centimeters thick before entering a prolonged winter sleep. However, the rules of this race are being rewritten by an invisible yet stern hand: climate change. For the first time in documented history, scientists have captured striking footage of the polar bear, the icon of the frozen world, actively pursuing adult caribou on land. As sea ice melts ahead of schedule, preventing traditional seal foraging, these white bears are forced to adapt or face a profound lack of sustenance. Pursuing an agile creature like the caribou requires significantly more energy than waiting by a seal's breathing hole, But the planet's grandest hunter is between a rock and a hard place. This intersection does not stop at the pursuit. Today, we are witnessing the emergence of the growler bear, a rare hybrid between the grizzly and the polar bear. This is the clearest evidence that biological boundaries are being redrawn. As the environment shifts, caribou now find themselves encountering white phantoms and powerful hybrids. Their marathon is no longer merely a search for green pastures, but a focused effort to avoid vanishing before the new, formidable seekers rising from a warming world. Leaving behind the chaotic banquets of the warm currents, we move toward the edge of the world, Antarctica, a frozen wilderness where there is no room for error. This is where orcas demonstrate an intellectual pursuit far beyond simple instinct to reach their objectives on the drifting ice. Antarctica offers no second chances for even the slightest oversight. For penguins, every step across the fragile ice is a move toward the ultimate threshold of existence. As the brief summer arrives, millions of individuals from the Adelie, Gentoo, and king penguin species begin their pilgrimage toward the shore to sustain their lineage. They must traverse dozens of kilometers of frozen terrain, but the true challenge does not lie within the sub-zero temperatures. The adversary lies in wait just beneath the ledge, where the border between secure ground and the unforgiving ocean becomes thinner than ever. In this vast white world, crimson is the rarest of colors and the only one that signals the conclusion of a journey. On land, penguins appear somewhat uncoordinated, but in South Georgia, that lack of grace can carry a heavy price. The South American sea lion is another persistent presence that lies in wait along these migratory corridors. Unlike the leopard seal, which prefers to wait beneath the surface, the sea lion utilizes its physical advantage directly on the shore. It selects king penguins that have reached a state of depletion after many days navigating the open sea. The encounter unfolds slowly, yet carries a high degree of intensity. The sea lion has no need for absolute velocity. It employs its massive presence to block the path and guide its target into the narrow spaces among the rocks. For the king penguin, this shoreline was meant to be a sanctuary, but now it has become a final arena where options for escape are vanishing. Leopard seal. Biologists refer to it as the predator with a smile that signals a final journey. Reaching lengths of up to 4 meters and weighing more than half a ton, it is the most imposing presence for any penguin. The leopard seal does not waste energy chasing after its prize across the vast ocean. It is a master of patience, effectively playing the long game. It lies in wait, right beneath the edge of the ice, where penguins must leap in to forage or dash out to return to their nests. The skull structure of the leopard seal bears a resemblance to prehistoric reptiles, allowing it to perform captures with tremendous force. When an unfortunate Adelie penguin enters its sights, the encounter concludes before the creature can even realize the presence of its adversary. But the leopard seal is not merely a basic mechanism of the wild. Recent studies reveal that they possess the ability to learn and accurately recall the migratory schedules of the penguins. They know exactly when the young ones will practice their swimming and when the alertness of the adults is at its lowest point. It is a seamless adaptation to transform the migration of others into their own bountiful buffet. If the leopard seal represents individual intensity, then the orca or killer whale embodies the most relentless collective intelligence in the ocean. They don't just find food, they demonstrate high-level maneuvers, proving they are at the top of their game. These sea wolves have refined a strategy that the scientific community refers to as wave washing, the creation of artificial swells. By swimming in close coordination and striking their tails in unison, they generate a massive wave strong enough to sweep penguins off the ice floe. This is far from pure instinct. It is knowledge that is passed down through the generations, becoming part of their DNA. Each orcapod in Antarctica maintains its own distinct hunting culture. The most recent global positioning system data reveals that orcas are shifting their behaviors to keep pace with the rapid melting of polar ice. They take advantage of small fissures between the ice to funnel their targets into a strategic enclosure. When a penguin enters the water, it encounters not just a single seeker, but an organized unit where every escape route is sealed down to a T. The challenge does not only arise from the ocean. Right in the heart of the colony, a hidden adversary is always present. The skua, the pirate bird of the polar region. They are first-rate opportunists. The skua does not need to engage in high-stakes struggles with the adults. It focuses on the future of the entire group, the eggs and the young chicks. With incredible patience, the skua keeps an eye out for every tiny movement within the colony. With just a second of lost focus or a mother bird reaching a bit too far, the skua will dive down with the speed of light. It secures its prize right then and there, or carries it away while the parents watch, unable to intervene. The presence of the skua transforms the penguin colony into a psychological obstacle course. The penguins must navigate two fronts, safeguarding themselves from adversaries in the water and protecting their lineage from those watching from the sky. It is a pressure for survival that never lets up. Every individual that reaches their journey's end is a lesson for those who stay, and a precious source of energy for the predator to carry on in the most challenging place on Earth. At this final boundary, life is not measured by the number of years, but by every breath, every stroke of the flipper, and every time one manages to dodge a bullet when facing a final fate. The White Symphony continues to play, relentless and cold, yet full of pride. The Serengeti plains are not for dreamers. Here, life is measured in the blink of an eye, and the final curtain is always waiting at the end of a single leap. A mother cheetah. She does not possess the rippling muscles of a lion or the raw intensity of a hyena. Her weapon is the elegance of biological engineering. To reach a velocity of 110 kilometers per hour, this cheetah's body serves as a perfect cooling and power assist system. A flexible spine acts like a spring, allowing for a stride that spans as far as 7 meters. Non-retractable claws serve as the cleats of a track athlete, gripping firmly into the scorching African soil. Today's objective is a gazelle. This chase is a game where the mother cheetah is playing for keeps. If she falls short, she will have squandered a massive amount of calories, and her cubs might face the onset of severe exhaustion. The struggle reaches its conclusion. The mother cheetah requires 20 minutes to catch her breath before she can bring a meal back to her young ones. But in this world, 20 minutes is more than enough time for scavengers to catch wind of the harvest. The mother cheetah's hunt is merely a single note in the grand symphony of survival known as the Great Migration. Over 1,500,000 wildebeests, 200,000 zebras, and thousands of gazelles are engaged in a massive exodus. As the rains depart from the Serengeti, the arrival of the parched season begins to tighten on the plains. The herds must journey 800 kilometers to find the lush green pastures of the Masai Mara. However, this trek is like a roll of the dice where the stakes are their very survival. This year, the migration route has changed significantly. The unpredictability of the weather has left traditional paths dry as a bone, forcing the herds into narrow corridors where others are waiting with flawless strategies. They are not merely facing extreme fatigue, they are heading straight into the heart of the final threshold. Welcome to the ultimate proving ground of the Great Migration, the Mara River. For the wildebeest herd, this water represents hope. Yet beneath the surface lie armored machines, the Nile crocodile. These creatures have no need for further evolution, as they reached their peak millions of years ago. A palatal valve at the base of the throat allows them to open their mouths underwater to grasp their meal without inhaling water into their lungs. Their hearts possess a small opening called the foramen of Panizza, which helps direct oxygen-rich blood to the most vital organs during a long period of lying in wait. An adult Nile crocodile can go without eating for an entire year. But when the migratory feast arrives, they become the most voracious diners. With a bite force reaching 22,000 newtons, equivalent to the pressure of a small truck pressing down on a single square inch, no shell or bone presents a challenge. This bushbuck is perhaps the luckiest individual today. But for the thousands of gazelles preparing to brave the river, luck is a luxury. Gazelles are the smallest members of this massive migratory group, and most of them were already satisfied with the distance covered before reaching the Mara River. Yet there are still those who harbor ambitions for nature's precious rewards. But there is one thing they do not realize. Here, the river flows with desperation. Making it through the murky waters of the Mara River does not mean you have secured the ultimate prize. In truth, it is merely a transition from the cold storage of the Nile crocodile to the open larder of the lion. Here, the male lions, majestic rulers weighing nearly 230 kilograms, are lying in wait. We are typically accustomed to the females handling the provider role, but at the river crossings during migration season, these gentlemen are ready to set aside tradition to perform powerful maneuvers. The sheer exhaustion of the wildebeest herd after struggling against the swift current has already completed 90% of the work for them. Biological data from the year 2025 indicates that cortisol levels, the stress hormone, within the blood of the wildebeests at this moment are 10 times higher than normal. This causes their reflexes to slow down, turning them into stationary figures in the eyes of an apex seeker. If the lion represents explosive power, then the hyena is the symbol of unrelenting endurance. A clan of hyenas can maintain a velocity of 60 kilometers per hour over a long distance, forcing their target into a state of total physical depletion. The tactical coordination of hyenas is equivalent to, or even surpasses, that of certain primates. When a young wildebeest becomes the center of their focus, its chances of continuing its journey drop to nearly zero. And here is where the science becomes truly remarkable: the stomach of the hyena. With extremely high concentrations of hydrochloric acid, their digestive system is a genuine chemical reactor. From the hide and hair to the sturdiest bones of the wildebeest, everything is completely broken down. After a pursuit is finished, there is almost no trace remaining on the ground. Hyenas make full use of every protein source to sustain a matriarchal empire, where the most powerful females always get the lion's share. The Great Migration at the Serengeti persists as an infinite loop of existence and the final transition. The pilgrims continue their stride, because to halt means to fade completely into the food chain of this uncompromising landscape. Moving away from the South American beaches, we return to Africa, but not to gaze upon the spectacle of the Great Migration, rather to uncover a secret migratory route of the zebra. While the whole world is captivated by the grand migration in the Serengeti in Botswana, a greater secret has quietly existed for centuries. It was not until the year 2012, thanks to modern global positioning system technology, that we realized with astonishment the zebra migration from the Chobe River to Naxai Pan National Park is actually the longest overland trek of any mammal in Africa. More than 500 kilometers in a straight line and up to 1,000 kilometers for an intense round trip. Why do they choose this path? The answer lies within the vast salt pans of Naxai Pan. There, following the rains, the grass is more than just sustenance. It serves as precious mineral supplements, something the zebra herd cannot find anywhere else. Yet, there is a poignant historical truth that we must revisit. For many decades, man-made fences designed to prevent livestock ailments blocked this route. Once the barriers were removed, ancient instincts surged back with such incredible power, proving that nature truly stands its ground. These zebras were never taught this path by their parents, yet their genetic code guided them back to the promised land. Nature may be interrupted, but it can never be entirely erased. Nevertheless, this journey back to their origins also serves as an invitation for the master seekers of the savanna. The most formidable counterpart for the zebra on this trek is the lioness. If the male lion is the symbol of raw power, then the females are the architects of the quiet approach. They understand that an adult zebra weighing 300 kilograms possesses kicks capable of fracturing the jaw of any seeker. Therefore, recklessness is an inefficient strategy. Observation, stealth, and decisive engagement. Everything is performed flawlessly and with purpose. The lioness chooses the method of breath restriction. By locking her jaws onto the windpipe of the counterpart, she interrupts the oxygen flow to the brain, transitioning a once vibrant creature into a still presence in just moments. This is a wise choice for both energy conservation and safety. It ensures the counterpart cannot struggle and inflict harm on the one pursuing it. In the world of the lion, the parental bond of the other is seen merely as an unnecessary expenditure of energy. The lioness will not hesitate to overcome the female, leaving the young one isolated on the savanna, another accessible meal that will soon be addressed. But the time has come for the migration to the salt pans to make its return journey. The evergreen forests near the banks of the Chobe River are the zebra's home, and they belong to the leopard as well. If the lioness relies on collective strength, the leopard is a solitary phantom with an entirely different philosophy for its pursuits. It never engages in encounters where it is not certain of a successful outcome. An adult zebra may be too substantial for a leopard weighing 60 kilograms, yet this feline is a master of selecting a target of the appropriate scale. The leopard will wait patiently for hours. This might be a juvenile or an adult carrying an ailment within. The leopard is an invisible presence. After securing its harvest, the leopard must face its greatest challenge, safeguarding its gains from those seeking an easy meal. The leopard's intellect allows it to memorize secure locations in trees along the migratory corridor, creating a network of secret supply stations. The 1,000-kilometer journey concludes in silence. The zebras that have moved past the focus of the lioness and the stealth of the leopard are now being rewarded with the most abundant nourishment on the planet. Yet this tranquility is only temporary. To thrive, one must remain in constant motion, and to mature, one must be prepared to face the final threshold every day. The zebra migration in Botswana is a symbol of the enduring persistence of life. Sea turtles represent an exceptionally high-stakes investment. A mother turtle can lay hundreds of eggs, but their future has already been set by an uncompromising statistic: 1 in 1,000. A pure race for survival. But let's return to the time when the mother turtle worked tirelessly to bring them into the world on the beautiful beaches of Costa Rica. Ngorongoro. After mating amidst the swift ocean currents, Hundreds of thousands of mothers begin a solitary journey spanning more than 3,000 kilometers to return to the place where they were born. Throughout 3 weeks of drifting, a quiet biological miracle takes place. Inside the mother turtle's body, 100 precious eggs encased in durable, flexible shells are gradually reaching completion. However, to reach the nursery, many observers are still lingering nearby. Beneath the blue waters of Costa Rica, a 5-meter tiger shark does not require the speed of a cheetah. It possesses patience and a set of jaws engineered to dismantle nature's sturdiest armor. Unlike other sharks with sharp teeth for shredding, the tiger shark's teeth have a unique serrated structure. Referred to as the refuse collector of the ocean, this shark has an unlimited menu, yet sea turtles remain a highly favored main course. They function like handheld power saws, capable of slicing through a turtle shell as thick and hard as stone. Tiger sharks tend to gather in sea turtle migratory corridors with higher density due to changes in warm ocean currents. A precarious contest between passive protection and active measures of engagement. But the mother has prevailed. She will carry her precious gems onto the shore. When sea turtles imagine the sandy shore is a secure haven to continue their lineage, they have made a fateful oversight. In the coastal regions of South America, particularly Brazil, the laws of the jungle have expanded into the realm of the ocean. The mother turtle comes ashore to deposit hundreds of her precious eggs, and she is nearly ready to return to the sea. However, the shoreline seekers do not permit it. The jaguar is the only member of the feline family that considers reptiles an essential part of its daily nourishment. In the South American wetlands, such as the Pantanal, their preferred choice is the caiman. But on the beaches of Central America, the menu has undergone a shift. How do they pursue the sea turtle, a creature that always carries its mobile home? The answer lies in the force of their bite. Jaguars possess the most powerful bite among the big cats when measured relative to body size. The power of this feline is twice the biting force of a lion. While other creatures are left without options against the sturdy turtle shell, the jaguar simply employs its teeth like a hydraulic press. As traditional forest sources of nourishment decline, individual jaguars in this region have become genuine specialists in turtle pursuit. They know precisely when the tide rises and when the turtles are at their most exhausted after finishing the placement of 100 eggs. For the turtle, this is a tragedy of fatigue. After traversing thousands of miles of ocean and navigating past the presence of sharks, she finds the conclusion of her journey beneath the talons of a seeker from the jungle. Yet within the Central American ecosystem, existence always harbors astonishing paradoxes. The dominance of the jaguar creates a buffer zone of apprehension. When the silent paw prints of this large feline are imprinted on the sand, professional egg takers like raccoons, coatis, or vultures, those capable of undoing countless nests in a single night, must remain hidden in the shadows. A single mother turtle may reach her end under the claws of the jaguar, but in exchange, this presence is a blessing in disguise, as thousands of other nests are kept safe from the interference of smaller seekers. A perfect equilibrium that nature has meticulously established. As the first light of dawn touches the shores of Costa Rica, the final mother turtles slowly return to the ocean. leaving behind millions of seeds of life hidden beneath the sand heated to 28 to 32 degrees Celsius, the temperature that determines the gender of the next generation of turtles. The moment these tiny souls take their first breath of the salty air, a silent presence is already waiting. The magnificent frigate birds are true pirates of the air. With a wingspan extending over 2 meters, yet possessing feathers that lack proper waterproofing, they cannot land on the ocean to forage for fish like other seabirds. These birds are capable of continuous flight for weeks due to their ultralight hollow bone structure and the ability to rest while airborne. To a magnificent frigate bird, these little hatchlings are protein-rich morsels encased in a soft exterior. The most fortunate hatchlings that make it past the aerial seekers and navigate through the persistent waves crashing against the shore will enter a completely new arena. They will refine themselves through various ocean regions, solitary and transforming with each passing day. Once they reach full maturity, they will return to the very place they were born to continue writing the most captivating stories of endurance. For the salmon, migration is not a journey in search of life, but a biological legacy written through their own undoing. These fish are undertaking one of nature's most extraordinary treks. Swimming upstream to return to their place of birth, solely to complete a final mission of continuing their lineage before reaching their journey's end there. Upon departing the salty waters of the ocean to enter the freshwater rivers of Alaska, the salmon's body begins an intense process of transformation. They cease nourishing themselves entirely. The digestive system breaks down to make room for swelling deposits of eggs and milt. To overcome thousands of kilometers upstream, they burn through 4,000 calories of reserves, equivalent to a marathon athlete running continuously while running on empty for several weeks. From a scientific standpoint, they are effectively moving remnants of their former selves. The salmon's body begins to deteriorate, even as they continue to swim. Skin peels away and internal organs fail, yet instinctive will continues to propel them forward. This is a collective journey of sacrifice on the largest scale on the planet, creating a massive resource that draws the most formidable seekers of the North. At choke points like these waterfalls, grizzly bears are the uncrowned kings. An adult grizzly bear can consume up to 40 kilograms of fish daily, yet they are far from indiscriminate. In the peak season, grizzly bears employ a strategy that biologists call high grading, premium selection. Rather than consuming the entire fish, they only strip away the skin, subcutaneous fat, and the brain, the most energy-dense portions to quickly accumulate fat for the lengthy winter slumber. These bears are not merely standing there by chance. There is a rigorous social hierarchy within this arena. The largest alpha males will claim the most lucrative spots right at the crest of the waterfall, where fish often leap directly into their reach. Younger bears or mothers raising cubs must accept positions further downstream, gathering what remains or braving the odds in the competition for a prize. A single swipe from a grizzly bear's claws can instantly subdue an opponent, yet in this salmon fever, the hunger for energy often surpasses any sense of unease. Once the grizzly bears have reached their fill, the opportunistic seekers begin to take their turn. From the towering pine tops, the bald eagle observes every movement below with eyes that possess a visual range 4 times that of a human. They do not need to expend as much effort as the bears. With an incredibly sensitive ability to distinguish colors, the eagle easily spots the vibrant crimson hue of the salmon amidst the crystal-clear water. The talons of the bald eagle feature a specialized structure to maintain a firm grip on slippery targets. However, the intensity often arises from mid-air encounters. These eagles frequently engage in claiming resources from one another right in the atmosphere during fast-paced maneuvers. For them, this is the prime window to accumulate energy before the challenging winter transforms this entire region into a frozen wilderness. The abundance of salmon even alters the inherent nature of terrestrial seekers. In the coastal regions of British Columbia and Alaska, grey wolves have set aside traditional foraging habits to become genuine fishing specialists. This is an intelligent adaptation. Pursuing a deer in the deep woods requires too much energy and brings many risks of physical harm. Conversely, these declining salmon represent complementary and secure meals. Interestingly, these wolves also follow the example set by the bears. They typically only consume the salmon's head, the area containing the most nourishment and fewer stowaways compared to the body. This shift in nourishment is so distinct that scientists have discovered traces of marine life in their fur and bones through radioactive isotope analysis. As the seekers conclude their banquet, the true story of the salmon run begins to soak into the soil. Each year, millions of salmon remains are carried deep into the forest by bears, wolves, and eagles. What remains from their meals is never squandered. As the fish remains break down, they release a massive amount of nitrogen and phosphorus originating from the ocean into the terrestrial ecosystem. Recent scientific studies have provided an astonishing figure. Salmon remains provide as much as 25% of the nitrogen necessary for the growth of the towering trees around the migratory zone. The spruce and ancient pines are able to reach great heights thanks to the sacrifice of these crimson pilgrims. The river becomes a perfect system of energy circulation where everything has come full circle as the conclusion of one species' journey becomes the source of vitality for thousands of others, from tiny microorganisms to 100-year-old giants. The salmon run is more than just a migratory event. It is the beating heart, pumping the blood of nourishment from the deep ocean into the very lungs of the continent. As the final salmon takes its last breath, its trek reaches its destination, but the vitality it leaves behind will endure forever within every grain of the ancient Alaskan timber. This is no pleasure cruise, it is a 6-month fasting marathon. Throughout this trek, the adult whales barely consume a single calorie. They live entirely off the blubber reserves under their skin, drawing from their own bodies to power every stroke of their tails. For a female who is pregnant or nursing, this pressure is a heavy lift. They are swimming a path where the toll for a new life is their own physical depletion. The humpback whale calves are born in warm equatorial waters where they are safe from the chill, but lack a source of nourishment. The mother whale's mission is to bring her young back to the polar regions before her fat stores run dry. The calves need to drink up to 500 liters of milk every day to grow quickly, building a layer of fat substantial enough for life in cold waters. Scientifically, this is a high-stakes biological puzzle. The mother is transforming her own fat into milk for her calf, while she has no way to refuel. With every kilometer that passes, the mother grows more frail, while the calf remains quite small in the face of the ocean's shifts. But hunger is not the only adversary. Within the narrow migratory corridors along the continental shelf, the ocean's most calculating hunters have taken their positions. The orca are the dominant predator of the sea, while the humpback whale is a symbol of pure physical strength. The orca represents the pinnacle of collective intelligence. They lack the size to go head-to-head with a 40-ton adult whale, but they have a plan. Orca pods do not patrol at random. They have memorized and mapped out the exact migration paths of the humpback whale over centuries. They adjust their hunting routes to intercept at geographic choke points where the mother and calf are forced to run the gauntlet. This is no longer raw predatory instinct. This is tactical analysis based on real-world intelligence. The orcas are conducting a psychological and physical campaign, waiting for the moment when the mother's fatigue reaches its peak. The orca's strategy is incredibly relentless and efficient. They do not aim for an immediate outcome. The sole objective is to separate the calf from its mother's protection. The orca pod coordinates like a special forces unit. One group acts as a distraction, constantly bumping and nipping at the mother's pectoral fins to draw her attention away. The other group focuses all its energy on the calf. Even more daunting is the submerging technique. Since whales are mammals, they need to reach the surface to breathe. The orcas will take turns swimming on top of the calf's blowhole, using their weight to prevent it from taking in oxygen. It is a slow process of exhaustion through oxygen deprivation. The mother whale, now drained after 6 months of fasting, faces a heavy choice: continue to struggle until both reach their limit, or leave her young behind to preserve her own life. In the world of ocean giants, empathy is not found in the dictionary of survival. The orcas take what they need to sustain the pod and maintain their collective wisdom. For the humpback whale, this loss is part of the toll for making the longest migration on the planet. Those whales that endure will carry the lesson of vigilance and pass it on to the next generation. The ocean is a generous mother, but also a relentless referee. The adaptation of the orca shows that nature never stands still. It ups the ante to find new ways to exploit the vulnerabilities of life. The migration continues, an unceasing flow of survival instincts and perilous traps programmed into the genetic code of every species. That peculiar trunk-like nose is no mistake of evolution. It is a versatile climate control system, filtering the dust of the steppe in the summer and warming the freezing air before it enters the lungs in the winter. Just 10 years ago, this species seemed to have reached the end of the line after a mass loss of life caused by the Pasteurella multicida bacteria in 2015. But nature always holds surprises. With a miraculous recovery, the saiga population reached a record number of more than 1,300,000 individuals at the beginning of 2024. However, this population boom is not just good news for conservation efforts, it is also a signal sent across the steppe, inviting the ghosts of this land to return. In the world of the saiga, high numbers are both a shield and a focal point. On this steppe, with no place to hide, hunting strategies do not rely on surprise. Grey wolves here are the most relentless marathon athletes. Saiga can reach top speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour, but they cannot maintain it forever. Wolves do not need to be faster. They just need to stay the course. The pursuit can last for hours, even days. The grey wolf targets those who fall behind. Males exhausted after the mating season, or females weakened by illness. Wolves use pack intelligence to press the saiga herd into muddy areas or rugged terrain, where the saiga's trunk-like nose cannot help them breathe more easily when their heart rate has gone off the charts. When exhaustion takes hold, the saiga herd's shield of numbers begins to crack. But the challenge does not only come from the ground. For those newly born lives, the steppe is an arena full of traps from above. The steppe eagle. With a wide wingspan and incredibly sharp vision, this bird of prey takes advantage of the saiga's birthing season to execute lightning-fast aerial strikes. The young saiga, although capable of running just hours after birth, are still too slow against the speed of a diving eagle. The steppe eagle does not need a long pursuit. It targets the most vulnerable, using its razor-sharp talons to conclude the hunt instantly. During the peak days of the migration season, the steppe sky is never quiet. It is a constant pressure, forcing the saiga to keep moving, never allowed to stop long enough to become a sitting duck. The return of the saiga is one of the clearest testaments to the reviving power of nature. Despite the persistent pursuit of the grey wolf and the steppe eagle, or the lingering shadows of illness, this strangely shaped creature continues to move forward. The increase in predators is actually a sign that the steppe ecosystem is regaining its balance. 1,300,000 individuals are not just numbers on paper. They are a powerful biological flow, providing life for an entire food chain from the ground to the sky. Saiga antelopes do not need powerful offensive weapons. Their weapon is their resilience and incredible ability to bounce back. The migration continues, moving past the thorns and the shadows of the past, leading the survivors of the Ice Age into a new future, where they remain the peculiar and proud guests of the green steppe. On the Kazakh steppe, a life reaching its conclusion is not a tragedy. It is part of the way the world works. One saiga falling is the price for the species to endure, and for predators to have the strength to carry on their own lineage. The intensity here is not about graphic details, but about the high stakes of natural selection. The fastest, the most enduring, and the luckiest will see the break of dawn tomorrow. The journey of the saiga is an epic of revival, a reminder that even in the most challenging places, life always finds a way. For the red crab, the tides and the moon cycles are the supreme commanders. They must leave the security of their damp forest burrows to head toward the sea. The sole objective: to carry on the lineage. This is a march of an army in vibrant red armor, transforming every road and cliff into a moving red carpet. But do not let this overwhelming scale lead you astray. In the world of small creatures, high numbers do not always equate to security. A new presence, an uninvited guest, is turning this path toward life into a daunting chemical obstacle course. The yellow crazy ant. They are not native residents of this island. They are newcomers, accidentally brought by humans, and now establishing a harsh new order. Their name stems from their erratic, frantic movements when disturbed. But do not underestimate that frenzy. Instead of using jaws to bite like other ants, the yellow crazy ant utilizes a sophisticated form of chemical strategy. They do not possess traditional stingers. Instead, they carry formic acid, an organic acid capable of causing severe chemical irritation. Over the past few decades, these massive ant colonies have completely altered the ecosystem of Christmas Island. For a lone red crab, entering the ant's territory is much like a tank entering quicksand. The crab's biological armor can withstand predatory birds, but it is completely ineffective against tens of thousands of microscopic acid applications aimed straight at vital points. The encounter is without hesitation. The yellow crazy ant targets with frightening precision. They spray formic acid directly into the red crab's eyes, causing the creature to lose its sight immediately. Then they focus on the soft joints between the layers of leg armor. The acid passes through the thin membrane, impacting the nervous system and causing the motor muscles to go still. This is a slow process of chemical immobilization. The crab, once a resilient traveler that could swim oceans and scale cliffs, now becomes a prisoner within its own shell. It is blinded still and feels the heat from within. Researchers have noted areas where millions of red crabs have been removed from the landscape in just a few seasons by these chemical encounters. The yellow crazy ant does not consume the crab right away. They only need to make it stop moving. Once the tank has been decommissioned, the entire ant colony will move in to utilize this massive bounty. Despite the staggering losses, the drive for life cannot be dampened. Those who manage to navigate through the chemical sweep finally reach the destination of their lives. Under the light of the high tide moon, millions of female red crabs perform their final ritual in unison. They release eggs into the ocean, where tiny larvae will begin a new journey in the salt water before returning to the shore to continue the vibrant red cycle. The resilience of the red crab is a testament to the power of migration. Even when facing chemical-laden newcomers like the yellow crazy ant, their lineage finds a way to weather the storm. Nature always seeks to bring back balance where it has been disturbed. Conservation programs are working diligently to manage the ant population and protect the red treasure of Christmas Island. The struggle between the native residents and the newcomers continues, an intense new chapter in the survival chronicles of this island. Leaving behind the vibrant red beaches, we head toward the heart of the vast African continent, where another legion prepares to take to the skies. Here, strength is not found in hard shells or toxic acids, but in an older and more relentless strategy: absolute strength in numbers. As the Zambian twilight gradually fades, the sky no longer belongs to the clouds, but to a dark presence substantial enough to veil the sun, opening a vivid new chapter in the symphony of migration. In the center of Zambia, there is a tiny swamp forest called Kasanka. Its area is less than 10 square kilometers, yet as each year draws to a close, this place becomes the focal point for one of the most astonishing biological events on the planet: the straw-colored fruit bat. This is not just an ordinary colony, it is a gathering of 10 million individuals, creating the largest mammal migration on Earth by density in a single location. Imagine the entire population of a major city like New York or London packed into a small garden. The straw-colored fruit bat does not come here for privacy. They come for the massive bounty, the ripe forest fruits that are in season. These creatures are known as the gardeners of the sky. With the ability to fly up to 100 kilometers every night to forage, they scatter seeds across the African wilderness through their waste. However, when 10 million lives gather at a single coordinate, the concept of predator and prey is pushed to an entirely new boundary. A buffet, extending from the atmosphere down to the vegetation below, is ready for service. For birds of prey, this event is nothing short of a luxury dream. The martial eagle, Africa's largest and most powerful eagle, typically prefers ground-dwelling targets like rabbits or young antelopes. In Kasanka, it becomes a professional high-altitude interceptor. It does not need overly complex ambush techniques. Amidst a sky thick with straw-colored fruit bats, finding a specific target is essentially like finding a needle in a haystack, yet missing entirely is even harder. Nearby, the African fish eagle, usually a specialist in catching fish, temporarily adjusts its menu. It uses its razor-sharp talons to make direct grabs right in mid-air. Interestingly, recent studies show these eagles have learned to position themselves in the air currents from millions of bat wings to save energy while climbing high. They are not just foraging, they are riding a massive wave of biological energy. However, the chaos in the sky is only half the story. Beneath the dense canopy, a more unusual hunting scenario is being rewritten by one of the most intelligent big cats. Usually, leopards are ghosts of the ground and sturdy branches, but in Kasanka, the rules of physics seem to bend to accommodate their hunger. Leopards have learned to climb the smallest branches, risking their own well-being to reach the dark treasure hanging above. This is a classic example of behavioral adaptation. Instead of stalking a swift impala for hours, a leopard only needs to reach out and harvest the slumbering bats, which are truly low-hanging fruit in this forest. Sometimes, a misplaced move can send the leopard straight into the swamp below, but the temptation of thousands of calories hanging right in front of its nose is too great. It makes lightning-fast swipes, moving through the dense clusters of bats. Why does the straw-colored fruit bat accept such a precarious situation by gathering in such crowds? The answer lies in a cool-headed survival strategy: overwhelming numbers. In the natural world, mathematics is the strongest defensive weapon. When 10 million individuals appear at the same coordinate, the probability of a specific bat being selected as a meal for a leopard or a martial eagle is 1 in 10 million. Scientifically, this is a coin toss where the odds are always in the bat's favor. No matter how hard the predators try, they cannot consume more than 1% of the bat population during the migration season. This is a calculated collective sacrifice to ensure the persistence of the majority. Each bat that falls is a safety ballot for the others. This concentration not only helps them maintain temperature and social interaction during the mating process. The chaos we see is actually a sophisticated defense system where the conclusion of life for a few individuals is a small price to keep the lineage of the species strong. When the migration season concludes, 10 million straw-colored fruit bats will depart, carrying seeds to regenerate distant lands. Kasanka will return to its natural stillness, but the mark of this massive gathering will remain forever in the new forests quietly growing from the north to the south of the vast African continent. This migration is a reminder that in nature, greatness often comes with intensity, and a life reaching its end is always fertilizer for new life. The straw-colored fruit bat has navigated vertical arenas, from the presence of the leopard below to the talons of the martial eagle above, to complete its biological mission. They are not just refugees of the night, they are the sowing giants, the ones who keep the heartbeat of the African ecosystem pulsing. The struggle at Kasanka draws to a close, but the great wheel of migration on this planet will never stop. Migration is the thread that connects all life on this planet. It is an epic of sacrifice, wisdom, and a powerful drive for survival. In every corner of the earth, the end of the road waits in various forms, from the jaws of the crocodile and the talons of the eagle to microscopic sprays of acid. But life has never hesitated. Every individual that reaches their conclusion offers a lesson, and every completed journey is a triumph for the bloodline. The natural world holds no rule of fairness. It possesses only one law: to move forward or be phased out, as survival is truly the name of the game. And as long as the world keeps spinning, those migratory footprints will continue to mark every terrain, carrying on the greatest tale of releasing the primal instinct within every creature. We have just explored some of the most unfiltered looks at the struggle for territory and the most demanding survival pacts on our planet. Which creature in today's journey provided the most food for thought regarding the natural world? Was it the absolute dominance of the massive hippos or the uncompromising genetic legacy of the lion kings? Please share your reflections in the comments section below. Your understanding serves as a heartfelt tribute to these incredible wild spirits. Remember to hit like and subscribe to stay the course with me on my next field expeditions, where we will continue to crack the most guarded codes of life. And if you are eager to learn about more species, continue your exploration with hyena versus lion, clash of predators in the savanna, or wild dogs versus lion, when unity survives overwhelming power.